All right, we talk about word problems using 2x2 linear systems. And of course, word problems are best taught by examples. So I go straight to the examples. Problem 13. Two resistances, R1 and R2, sum to 1375 ohms. R1 is 125 ohms more than R2. What are they? Okay, the first thing, they sum to 1375. So R1 plus R2 equals 1375. R1 is 125 ohms more than R2. So R1 equals 125 plus R2. Here's a 2x2 linear system. It's easy enough to solve because R1 is here in terms of R2. So we just substitute in here. So where we have this R1, we'll replace 125 plus R2. So you get 125 plus R2 equals 1375. Transpose the 125, subtracting from both sides. And you get the R2 plus R2 equals 1375 minus 125. Okay, simplify, you get 2R2 on the left, 1250 on the right. So that's this. And to solve for R2, we divide both sides by 2. Get R2 equals 1250 over 2, which is 625. R1 is 125 plus R2, so we take 125 plus 625 makes 750. So resistance 1 is 750 ohms and resistance 2 is 625 ohms. #15 has Montana and Idaho. Each has one phone area code. These telephone area codes sum to 614 and differ by 198, and Montana's area code is the larger. Find the area code for each state. So let M be Montana's area code and I be Idaho's area code. They sum to 614, so M plus I is 614. They differ by 128, and M is bigger, so M minus I is 198. Okay, now this is a system we can solve quite easily by combining. If we add the equations, and the M's add up to 2M, I minus I cancels, and 614 plus 198 is 812. 2M is 812, divide both sides by 2, M is 406. Now if we subtract the equations, M minus M cancels. I minus negative I is I plus I, or 2I. 614 minus 198 is 416. So 2I equals 416. So I is half of 416, 208. So there are the area codes. Montana's area code is 406. Idaho's area code is 208. And here we have unit costs and labor costs. There's racing and model mountain bike they make. Materials cost for racing bike is $110 each. For mountain bike, it's $140 each. The labor cost for the racing bike is $120 each. For the mountain bike is $180 each. How many racing types, bikes and mountain bikes can the bike maker make for $26,150 in materials and $31,800 in labor? So if they're budgeted this amount and this amount, how many of each type of bike can they make? So okay, we're first asking after the number of bikes. M is the number of mountain bikes. R, I'll call that the number of racing bikes. Now, okay, the materials cost. So if there's M mountain bikes, that'll be, and R racing bikes, there'll be, the materials cost be 110R plus 140M. That equals the total budgeted in materials, which is 26,150. 110R plus 140M is 26,150. For labor costs, there's $120 per racing bike and $180 per mountain bike. So the total labor cost is 120R plus 180M, and equals a total of 31,800. So you get these two equations, 2x2 system. And okay, for this, might as well use Kramer's rule. And so R would be, well, all right, long story short, you do all this stuff. 110, 140, 120, 180, that's in the bottom denominator here and in here. And we put 26,150 and 31,800 into the first column for R the first variable. We'll put it into the second column for M, the second variable. Just a second. 363. I see that I should have put a bar over here, whatever. So, okay. And after evaluating both determinants, you get 255,000 over 3,000 equals 85 for R. And after similar calculations, get 128 for M. So it's 85 racing bikes and 120 mountain bikes. So we have 2 tickets to a Jonas. I don't know. This is probably, I never knew from either of these. Well, okay, I heard about Elton John, but I heard about Jonas Brothers, but I never even heard their music, at least as far as I know. So this is a popular cultural reference that is over my head. And I suspect that by now it's obsolete anyhow. We proceed. 2 tickets to Jonas Brothers plus 2 tickets to Elton John costs $560. 4 Jonas Brothers tickets plus 2 Elton John tickets cost $806. So how much for a Jonas Brothers ticket? How much for an Elton John ticket? Okay, so we'll have J be the cost of a Jonas Brothers ticket, and E be the cost of an Elton John ticket, and I really should make that E more E-like. So that's 364. Anyhow. So let's see. 2 Jonas Brothers tickets plus 2 Elton John tickets cost $560. 2J plus 2E equals $560. 4 Jonas, 2 Elton, $806. 4J plus 2E equals $806. 2 by 2 system. Now the E's are already lined up. So if we just subtract, then the E's will cancel. 2J minus 4J is negative 2J. 560 minus 806 is negative 246. Dividing this equation, both sides, by negative 2, we get that J equals 123. In this one, I take the step of having gotten J essentially by elimination. I'm going to substitute back in and solve by substitution. So if J is 123, we can substitute it into this equation. You get twice 123 plus 2E equals 560. So you distribute out 246 plus 2E equals 560, transpose the 246, 2E equals 560 minus 246, and then dividing, and so 2E equals 314, divide by 2, get E equals 157. So $123 for a Jonas Brothers ticket, $157 for an Elton John ticket. Gummy bears cost $3.50 a pound. Jelly beans cost $5.50 a pound. How much of each to make 60 pounds of candy costing $4 per pound? Okay, this is known as a mixture problem. I'm not sure if I would even value a mixture of gummy bears and jelly beans more than they would separately, so I have some issues as to the logic of this problem. But going by their reasoning, here we go. There's going to be there's 2 variables. G, the pounds of gummy bears, and J, the pounds of jelly beans. Oh, the very thought of a pound of jelly beans makes my stomach ache just thinking about it. Never mind. So it says 2 variables, so we need 2 equations. Fortunately, we can make an equation involving weight and an equation involving cost. G pounds of gummy bears, J pounds of jelly beans makes a total of 60 pounds. G plus J equals 60. Now the cost of those gummy bears will be $3.50 times G. The cost of the jelly beans will be $5.50 times J here. So they add up to 6 pounds at $4 per pound. That'll be 60 times 4. So here's our 2 by 2 system. G plus J equals 60. 3.50 G plus 5.50 J equals 60 times 4, which in the next step is 240. Now from this first equation, we can find J as 60 minus G, which will now substitute into the second equation here. So the second equation becomes 3.50g plus 5.50 times j, which is 60 minus g, equals 60 times 4, which is 240. Now we have one equation and one unknown. Now, okay, to solve it, we distribute the 550 over 60 and a g. So you get 3.50g plus, this times this is 330, this times this is minus 5.50g, equals 240. Okay, the next step is to get the constant to the other side. So we subtract 330 from both sides. On the left, we get 3.50g minus 5.50g. On the right, it's 240 minus 330. This left side we simplify, it comes down to negative 2g. The right side simplifies to negative 90. Negative 2g equals negative 90. To solve for g, we divide both sides by negative 2. So g equals negative 90 over negative 2, that's 45. J is 60 minus g, that would be 60 minus 45, that's 15. So 45 pounds of gummy bears, 15 pounds of jelly beans. Ugh. Too much of a sweet thing, in my opinion. How many pints of 10% antifreeze solution plus how many pints of 40% antifreeze solution makes 24 pints of 30% antifreeze solution? So, okay, we'll let X be the number of pints of the 10% solution and Y be the number of pints of the 40% solution. There's going to be 24 pints in all, so X plus Y is 24. Now, that's the total pints. Now, as for pints of antifreeze, well, there's X pints and 10% of that is antifreeze, so 0.10X. And to that we add Y pints at 40%, so 0.40Y. These add up to 30% of 24, 0.30 times 24. All right, let's write this on, multiply it out, it's 7.2. So X plus Y is 24, 0.1X, 0.4Y equals 7.2. Okay, this we can solve by substitution. Since X plus Y is 24, therefore Y is 24 minus X. Now, if you substitute that value of Y in here for the second equation, you get 0.10X plus 0.4 times Y, which is 24 minus X, equals 7.2. Here's the equation now. And then, of course, distribute the 0.4 over the 24 and the minus X. You get 0.1X plus 9.6 minus 0.4X equals 7.2. Okay, we have X's on this side. We move this 9.6 to the other side by subtracting it from both sides. So you get 0.1X minus 0.4X equals 7.2 minus 9.6. The left side simplifies to minus 0.3X. The right side simplifies to minus 2.4. And so minus 0.3X equals minus 2.4. Divide both sides by minus 0.3. And we get on the left X. On the right, you get negative 2.4 over negative 0.3. That equals 8. And for Y, Y is 24 minus X. So it'll be 24 minus 8, which is 16. And in the upshot then, 8 pints of the 10% solution, 16 pints of the 40% solution. Here's your answer. And I do insist writing down the answer in one spot in something like English. It just won't do to say X equals 8 and Y equals 16, especially if X equals 8 is on one corner of the paper and Y equals 16 is on the other corner of the paper. I want to be able to see in a glance and have it be interpretable in a glance. 3, 6, 6. Okay, that's in this part. Stop recording.